Hi, my name is Kaisa, and this is my response to The Great Gatsby. Like I said, I have read The Great Gatsby so many times. I read it for the first time in AP literature in high school, my senior year. I read it for my American Lit class in my undergrad years, and then I taught it um, to my sophomores a couple years ago. I've read it a bunch of times and I reread it this time as well. Um, I feel like I could recite the novel at this point, and it's crazy to me because despite the fact that I have read it so many times, like getting to read it again was such a joy. Like I really just connect with that book so much in so many different ways. And um despite everything I said about how the characters are white and straight and cisgender and rich and privileged and all that, like I think the underlying unhappiness that they have despite being so privileged is something that I think about a lot. Like I mean I fit into pretty much all those categories. I guess I'm pretty middle class, but other than that, I'm white and straight and cis and all that. Um, but they have this underlying unhappiness and this underlying like disillusionment with America and what they thought they were going to have for the American experience and what it's actually turning out to be. And I find that so relatable in 2021, right? Like we grow up, at least those of us who are in my generation, millennials or Gen Z, depending on who you ask. That's kind of where I fall. And I think for us, like we grow up with this notion that we live in the greatest country in the world, and there we're just gonna grow up and have this success and this happiness and have a family and have a great job and get all this money and just be great in this great country. And that's certainly not the case as far as I've been here. So um and it seems like, if Gatsby and Daisy and Tom and Nick were alive and in front of me, it seems like they would probably agree with me there. Um, and so it's still so relatable, which is crazy to me. And like I said in my post, the book is almost 100 years old, or more or less 100 years old, and that's crazy. And so for that reason, I would obviously highly recommend this book to anyone who hasn't read it, but I know a lot of people have because it's so popular in English curriculums. I guess the last thought I have is just about power and identity and voice. And there is a huge lack of power. And when I think about characters who specifically embody that, I actually think about, yes, Daisy, yes, Jordan in some ways, but I think about like the random black guy who was at the scene of the car crash. I think about the Jewess, Wolfheimer's wife, I believe she was. Just the characters that are kind of in the background who are just there and observing, and how they don't really get much of a voice, and what that means or what that implies. And um, like I said, this book is majority white, rich, um, straight, cisgendered people, and those are the people that generally society revolves around. And it definitely feels like this book revolves around these four characters who fall under those categories, and everyone's pushed to the side. So, those are my final thoughts for this week. And thank you.